My oldest brother, she has 3 sons, would have liked to have moved her to New Orleans, closer to his business, so that he could look over with her. And in my case, I knew that my mom wanted to stay in Pensacola, so I, said she needs to stay in her home. This started kind of a disagreement between 2 brothers. Unfortunately, this disagreement escalated, and my oldest brother did go to an attorney after getting a trust manager of my mother's trust to recommend he go to an attorney to get guardianship of my mother. And what happened was, she went to court. She had her advance directives in order. She testified in court. She actually went to the West Florida Memory Clinic 2 days before court, and the neurologist said that Ms. Franks had the capacity to make the decision of who her guardian would be. And with all that given, the judge still said, I just don't think it's best. And it's not best because there's a tug-of-war between the children, and the trust manager also believes it's the best. What the judge didn't know was the first article of the trust, the design of the trust was to keep it out of guardianship. And so the trust manager, I believe, reneged on his fiduciary duty to look after my mom, or as part of the group to hand her over to a third-party guardian. Immediately after my mother was put into guardianship, we, all 3 sons, got a letter from the guardian stating, you will not spend the night at your mother's house ever again. You will never drive your mother again. And it was a whole list of things that we would never be able to do again with my mom. And this was just mind-boggling that someone would have this much control. And again, my mom had stated what she wanted, but it was just ignored. Before we did go to court, there was a 3-person committee that came out to interview my mom. And at the time, I had 8 video cameras that I had set up. I'm a bit of a tech in the house to monitor my mom in case something happened. A care worker didn't show up, which happened. Care workers got in arguments with other care workers, which happened. So I was able to really keep a close watch on my mom to make sure everything was going good. Well, on all the doors, and everybody knew that this house was being monitored. And if you watch the video, which I have all 3 videos too, and you look at the reports, you just simply shake your head. You cannot believe this is the lowest bar to be able to take someone's complete constitutional rights and civil rights away. It's unbelievable. Currently, I'm allowed to talk to my mom for about 15 minutes a day, between 4 and 6. That's it. And it's recorded. It's monitored. And I can be cut off at any time. When we go see our mom, because of the stipulated order, and I'll describe what a stipulated order is. Stipulated order is when both sides agree. Mr. Franks, if you want to see your mother, you have to do these 10 things. Well, I don't like number 7, and I don't like number 9. Okay, Mr. Franks, you cannot see your mother. When you decide you like all 10, you can then see her. So it's a order that's agreed on under duress. If I don't agree to this, I can't see my mom. My mother also states all the time, boys, why can't you spend the night? I got 4 rooms. I think this is still my house. We all know this story and how it ends. The isolate, medicate, and steal the estate. That's the common theme. And in my mom's case, the medicate is now happening now. The isolation started, the stealing of the estate. My mom spends $1,000 a day to stay in her home. My mom can get up, she can use the restroom, she can do anything she needs to do with a little bit of assistance. She was actually doing quite well. She was actually on a cane at one time, and before the guardianship took place, and then it went to a walker. Soon it will be on a wheelchair. She kind of sits all day in a chair watching TV. That didn't happen before. She was active. She didn't even watch TV. But the first 17 months, my mother gained 30 pounds under this guardianship. There are so many different bills for eating out for $31, $25, $19 for a 90-year-old, 91-year-old woman that she's not eating out. We have these records, and once a year you get an accounting that by Florida law the guardians must do. And some people aren't allowed to be able to see those. In our case, we're so lucky we have gotten to see them. And we see these discrepancies. We see how much our mother's eaten. I did go in and do some research and found out that this companion house cleaning service that had been hired by the guardians at the get-go for 23 months was not licensed to do any hands-on care. Once I found this out from AAAPG, an agency in Florida, and also told the guardians and their attorneys this, AAAPG actually later on did go out and see them, but before then, the care service said, we're going to resign, not because we're in any type of violation, but because the kids have just made it too difficult. They're harassment, and we feel endangered by them. Well, that was $250,000 my mom spent on a unlicensed care service that she had no control over, that the trust wrote the checks for. In the meantime, my mom's in Pensacola, in a house, spent over $1 million so far. There are bills for attorneys for $227,000 that she's paid for her protection from her children. Again, I have the videos that show how much protection my mom needs from me or my other brothers. It's laughable, and how much fun times we have. There's a website called freeernestine.com, and on that website it pretty much tells the story of how it started from the beginning to end. It also has pictures and has some video of one of our concert visits at the church. It shows great times. It shows a family and what families should be. But it's almost like we've been punished for maybe having a disagreement between two of the boys, and my mother's, her wishes were not taken in consideration at all. It didn't matter what she wanted. It didn't matter that the neurologist said that she was competent to make her decisions if we were a caregiver, guardian, it didn't make a difference. It's what the courts decided, and that's kind of where we have this big issue. The judges really can do anything they want. It doesn't matter what people and how compelling evidence is. We did bring evidence to the judge in our case, showing these charges for eating out, and the judge came back and said, I hear what you're saying, we're not going there today.